back at home after really a long month on the road. I'm curious, what do you think what the benefits are to the team long term of just having played a tough schedule? It feels like they navigated some things that could toughen them up as the year goes on.
Yeah, you hope so. I certainly think it shows more quickly your strengths versus your weaknesses and what you have to work on. I think when you don't play as difficult a schedule, some of your weaknesses get glazed over a little bit, sometimes because of the level of competition. So I certainly think, they're glaring. They're looking at us. Statistically, we've got a lot of growth, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But we also learned how to win and, understand that when you have three people foul out, you can still find a way to win. And that was important for depth reasons. So, I think it's good to know that we're going to be home for a little while, and that I just think it's tough on your body and it's tough mentally to be on the road as much as we've been on the road.
You never want some of your veterans to foul out, but they're in overtime against Davidson. You had some players who really hadn't been on the court a lot with each other in game situations trying to win a game. What stood out to you about the way they interacted together and how valuable was it? And then just have Ting get the game winner.
Yeah, I think Ting is elite offensively, and some of it is just building confidence in what we're doing and how she fits with what we're doing. And her understanding, like, she's, like, really, really valuable to us. And, I think her defensive growth has been pretty exponential in terms of what she looked like in October compared to now. And so I just think she certainly statistically looks really, really good. They've been limited in terms of volume of shots, but the shots she's taken, she's made. And we've got to get her more shots, and we've got to get her comfortable taking them and impacting us. And then I think her rim protection has been good. I think she's, when she understands who she's guarding and what her advantage versus disadvantage is, I think she's going to turn into a better than serviceable defender and an elite offensive player. And so just really, really happy for her. And having that group, no, you don't want to go into... I certainly didn't want to go into double overtime without Bugs, Ballet, and Talia. I didn't want to do that, but I was proud of these simple things. I felt like when Ting put the ball in the bounce, if she'd have missed, Kayla had done a good job of burrowing in the backside and was in position to get an offensive rebound, which there was time for. And so, she didn't take it for granted. She didn't just watch her go one-on-one. I thought Markayla shifted up to the top of the key on the drive. Surprised they didn't help off and grateful they didn't help off. But I didn't think she just stood there and watched. So I thought that part was good. We probably should have guarded them and not given up a wide-open half-court shot. But, I think... I think Kayla's starting to come on. I thought she had a good tournament. I thought she would have played more against Iowa if she didn't pick up 4 fouls in 6 minutes. So she kind of hurt herself that way, but I thought her minutes, her practices have been good. So I thought, you got to find ways to win. We found ways to put ourselves in that position. We shouldn't have been in overtime, and we certainly shouldn't have had to take that shot to win it. I promise we're not teaching them to foul three-point shooters when you're up 3. But it just shows you the things you have to work on. We hadn't worked on how do you foul when you have a foul to give in that situation. And it can't be you wrap them up or push them from behind. That was dangerous. So, I think there's a lot of teaching and a lot of good film from that tournament in particular.
You kind of joked in the postgame about who's out there, who's even out there, that kind of thing. But is there some confidence that she can gain in the fact that she was the one picked to do that, and then she came through for you?
Yeah, it was. It's hard to be this far away from home, and I think every player has personal expectations, and I think she's had to wade through some stuff that maybe she didn't expect to, but I certainly. Her teammates believe in her and her coaches believe in her. And the look in her eye was not fear when I said go one-on-one. Okay, good. Like, and you learn a little bit about players. Maybe some players you need to bring a screen to get them in space. Jan, I got to bring a screen to. Ting probably just needs the space, needs a 1-4 flat or action in that scenario. And so I didn't see any fear in her eyes, and I felt like after she made the shot, it was kind of like, okay, this is just the beginning. Like, that's what she told Tez. This is just the beginning. And so, I do think it's a big confidence builder for her. And we were subbing so much offense and defense that honestly, I did have that question of who's even in. I know the three of you aren't in because you fouled out, but we were subbing some offense and defense. And that's where, we've got some kids that just, there's no doubt you have to be better from the free throw line, because we were in tough situations there late where if I didn't have timeouts, it would have been a problem. Because, if you got to get a stop first and then they got to foul you, and you can't, the people you want in to defend and aren't the same people you want in to get fouled, that's a unique challenge. Like, I was very much in that mode of, hey, you guys, as soon as either the ball goes through the basket or you grab a rebound, we got to call timeout. Like, we can't allow someone to wrap us up, because, we had struggled from the line with some of the key players that are good for us defensively. So that's just something, like I've said it a million times, free throws are not something we're going to spend a lot of time in our team practice doing. That's a pride thing. That's an on your own thing. Like, we're going to shoot pressure free throws. We might shoot 10 at the end of practice, but if you need to be better from the foul line, it's 100 a day, every day. And so you see it go in over and over and over again. And I don't care if you're the best shooter on our team and the worst shooter on our team, free throws are something everyone can be good at. And so, but it's something we've got to improve, because we hurt ourselves in the Iowa game. Missing free throws down the stretch. And, we just, that can't be who we are. Like, we can't give games away at the line.
Do you think the team and maybe even you are getting used to a volume scorer like Talia? Does that affect everything else y'all do? And you really haven't had that maybe since Nalissa, I guess? Absolutely.
That's the last one we've had. And I think the thing about Talia is very similar to Nalissa. Obviously, they play different positions, but you knew Nalissa was going to get 20 and 10 every game. Like, you didn't have to run stuff necessarily for her. And she certainly, Nalissa wasn't somebody that got a lot of assists. She was the person that was the finisher of the play. I think the unique challenge is when Talia starts with the ball and, the ball doesn't touch other people's hands, keeping them engaged. And so she's going to learn to do it. I think the Davidson game was a really good film game for her, because there's a difference in, she has this unique and special ability to find crevices of space and score at a high level. I felt like Davidson was the first time she saw a wall, and there's a difference. There was no wall. There was no break in the fence line. It was a wall, and when to get off the ball, because it's a wall, and how the difference between, I wouldn't take any pride or be upset if Talia led the nation in scoring, but that can't be our priority. It has to be her taking good shots for us and shots that help us win. And Talia's a winner, and she wants to win. And people don't understand, because of how good she is, how few games. She hasn't even played 30 games in college yet, and there's been huge breaks in between. And so, she needs to see where the openings are. And when Talia's going to be a first-team All-American, when she isn't just a scorer, but she's a playmaker. And sometimes that play is finding your open teammate. And it's not a selfish thing, any different than any other kid on our team that takes a shot where there's somebody else more open. It's figuring it out. It's figuring out where your teammates are, where the help is coming from. She had immense success through 5 games of putting the ball in the basket at an efficient clip. So this is the first time she wasn't efficient, and she turned it over a lot. And yet you can't take her confidence away because her 3-point play in overtime was super key. So I don't want to take away her aggressiveness. She just has to know when she touches the paint, who's coming, where are they coming from, and, where's the open person. And the play she made to get Ting a 3 was just as big as her 3-point play. And she's going to have to trust her teammates because they're going to make those shots. She has good teammates, and, they're going to learn to play with her too. But, yeah, I do think they're learning to play with her. And I believe in our other kids just as much as I believe in her. But I will say this, like when you look at the toughest part of our schedule, she's been efficient, and not everyone on our team has. And so she's had to find ways to score for us to win games, and we just gotta all get better, which we will. I mean, I love what she's capable of doing, and it's like just her seeing film where the openings are and the ways that she can continue to impact the game without just shooting it.
Louisiana Tech, who are they as a team?
Really athletic. I think they're probably going to deny harder than any team we've played. Duke was a situational deny. They're longer, but this is a team that denies one pass away, that gets into your ball handler early. I thought Davidson, picked us up full court, but I don't know that they could get into our ball handler the way that La Tech can really wreak havoc on your ball handler just with pressure and athleticism. They're shooting a lot of threes right now. They've got 3 players that are going to shoot quite a few threes and have the ability to make them. I think their post game has improved the last 3 games. And so I think they're a team that is building confidence. They had a huge lead against Arkansas in their opener and saw it evaporate, then went on the road to Louisiana Monroe, and was a real battle and didn't come up with the win. But I think they've been on a roll. Beating Stephen F. the way they did is pretty impressive. Stephen F. is consistently good, even, and so I think they're a team that is going to come in and be very different from a team a year ago. A year ago they were freshmen, now they're sophomores. They've added a few upper class kids. They're still young, but they play their tails off. They're going to pressure and jump out and hedge our ball screens and sometimes even trap our ball screens. So, and they've shown a little 3-2 zone. So, we've got to be ready for a lot of different things. But, we've got to get a piece of the paint one way or the other and make good decisions once we touch the paint.
My final question for you, Thanksgiving. What's one food that's underrated, one food that's overrated in your mind?
Overrated is turkey. It's just not that good. I think we eat it and it's like a tradition, but I don't know how many people given a choice of a meal at any other time in the year, they're like, yeah, I want turkey. I've been clamoring for some turkey. Underrated, pecan pie. I don't even know. I'm not a big, I'd say pumpkin pie is overrated too. Let me put that over on my, but underrated. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so not a foodie. You're asking the wrong person. It's the people. Meals for me are about the people, not about the food. So, yeah, good question. But I'm a bad answer.